talking all things Hattiesburg and the Pine Belt. You're tuned in to 9 a.m. edition with Michael Mergens on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3.
It's April 8th on a Wednesday, another edition of 9 a.m. edition from our studios in beautiful Oak Grove, Mississippi. Coming up this hour, since it's Wednesday, it's William Carey Wednesday, where we put a focus on William Carey University. And going to be joining me in studio, Dr. Italo Subbarao, Dean of the William Carey University College of Osteopathic Medicine. We actually have a few things to talk about. In fact, I'm just going to wait. That's the teaser. We have a few big things to talk about. Usually I say specifically what we're going to talk about, but I'm going to change it up a little bit today. And you actually have to wait through and listen to the interview. But we do have a lot to talk about, and it's big stuff. It always is. And again, that's where we put a focus on William Carey University. First up, though, joining me on the phone from Cronin Family Dentistry, the man himself, Dr. Kelly Cronin. Good morning, Dr. Cronin, and welcome.
Thank you, Michael. It's great to be here today.
One thing I wanted to hit on today, I was looking at your website, croninfamilydentistry.com, and we've talked about so many different topics over the years, but I don't know if we've really focused on every single thing that you offer at Cronin Family Dentistry. Now, you hear the name, the stuff we've talked about. The assumption probably is that you do just general dentistry. A lot of offices do, but you've expanded beyond that, and it's actually kind of surprising because some of the services that you offer, for a long time, you would have to go to a specific doctor, like maybe an orthodontist or something, but you offer so many different services outside of general dentistry. So let's just start right at the top. One thing, and we have hit on this, but it's becoming so popular, cosmetic dentistry.
Absolutely. We certainly are a general dentist, and we work closely with various specialists here in town to help provide the best care for our patients. But we have, over the years, done advanced training and invested in advanced technology to help us provide a lot of these procedures in our office. With cosmetic dentistry, we can really help anyone with potentially any type of smile upgrade they need, anything from simple teeth whitening to we can do full mouth veneers, or we can do some crowns or bridges. We can also completely redo your smile if your teeth are rotten and need to go. We can put some implants and some implant teeth up there that stay in and allow you to chew and function and smile with the smile that you deserve and that you would like. So we can do all kinds of things from small things to work on one tooth to the full mouth. So it's been a privilege to help people with these services.
Now, I mentioned there was a time where you would have to go to a specific doctor for certain issues going on in your mouth outside of general dentistry, the cleanings and the wisdom teeth pulling and whatnot. But you do offer some orthodontics. What exact areas do you focus on?
We mainly focus on older teenagers and adults that have a little bit of straightening. Maybe there's some crowding or some small space, and we use a product called clear aligners. They're clear plastic retainers that put pressure on your teeth and slowly move your teeth over time. We don't use the traditional brackets and wires like the orthodontists use. So if you have a good stable bite and your teeth are doing pretty good, they're just, you don't like the way they look as far as spacing or crowding or rotations, we can help you with those type things.
Another area that actually kind of stood out, and I don't believe we've actually talked about this, but you offer sleep apnea therapy. And I can't tell you how many people I know surprisingly, that deal with sleep apnea issues. Of course, as the science progresses, we learn more and more about those issues. But I had no idea that you did that. So what exactly are the therapies that you offer for sleep apnea?
Sure. There's two main types of sleep apnea. One is called essential sleep apnea. The other is called an obstructive sleep apnea. The central sleep apnea is when something is just kind of wrong with your nervous system that kind of decreases your breathing at night. That's outside of our realm. But the most common sleep apnea is obstructive, and that's when you lay down at night and you're snoring because your airway's closed up, and a lot of times you're laying on your back, and what happens is your bottom jaw, which moves, gravity takes it and it moves it towards your throat and it closes off your airway. And that's the most common sleep apnea people have. So most people will use like a CPAP machine that constantly puts positive air pressure to make sure that you're getting enough air to breathe. In dentistry, what we can do for those patients is we use what's called a mandibular advancement device. That's typically, most of those, you'll wear a kind of a mouthpiece on your top teeth and your bottom teeth. Then we have a different type of attachment that will connect those together, and we can open up your airway. Basically, it'll hold your bottom jaw forward, and it increases the opening of your throat as you're sleeping. And so naturally you get enough air on your own doing that. And so that's been a game changer for a lot of patients that do that. And so it's a great thing that can help a lot of patients where a CPAP machine is really a nuisance a lot of times.
Gotcha. And then we have talked about this, but I don't think we've talked about it enough because there are so many people that suffer from anxiety and have issues when it comes to just going to the dentist. So you offer sedation dentistry for those people, and I know it's become very popular, but talk about exactly what that is and really which patients are qualified for that.
Absolutely. Every day we deal with multiple patients with anxiety. Almost half of our patients come in with some sort of dental anxiety. It's kind of common and normal to us. And when we say that, it simply means we appreciate it. We understand it's a real thing. And so sometimes patients just need some laughing gas, and that's fine. But for some more severe anxiety patients, we can offer sedation where you take a pill before your appointment and you kind of sleep through your appointment. Or in other situations, we can use IV anesthesia where we have a nurse anesthetist or an anesthesiologist that comes in and they provide anesthesia while we're doing the dental work. And you basically sleep through the whole thing, and we get a lot of work done and wake up and you're happy it's done and you didn't have any anxiety with it. So it's a great service. Not many dentists offer IV sedation. We're one of the few in South Mississippi that do that. It's been a great service to a lot of patients that have neglected their dental work, not because they wanted to, just the anxiety is real.
Right. So outside of general dentistry, why offer these other services? Because obviously the convenience, when you think about going to your dentist, having other issues that can't be taken care of at that particular office, then you have to get a referral. You have to make an appointment to go and see the other, whatever the service is. And a lot of times they're going to do a consultation at first and then they schedule the appointment. So I can see the convenience in going to one place. But what's the antithesis of offering all these different services?
It's always been my philosophy to provide the best care to every patient that I see. And there's many times that I realize if I would just advance my education, I would be able to offer other services to patients where they wouldn't have to go back and forth all the time, and where it'd be more convenient for them and many times even more affordable because it's just one office and we can provide those services. And with that in mind, there's some things that obviously the specialist is more skilled at. We're happy to work with specialists in those situations. we certainly never try and use patients as our test patients or guinea pigs, and we make sure we're well skilled before we do any treatment. But a lot of our patients just have expressed over the years how convenient it is just to be able to come to one place. And so we have 5 different dentists between our 2 offices, and we all are kind of more specialized in different things. One dentist offers Botox for patients. Others offer the surgery, and others offer that. So we can offer a lot of that in-house and keep everything simple for the patients.
You are a one-stop shop for your dental needs. CroninFamilyDentistry.com's the website. Of course, you have a great in-house insurance plan that covers those cleanings as well as discounts on x-rays and various procedures for those that don't have dental insurance. Of course, that's a big reason that keeps a lot of people from going to the dentist. But everything is available at Cronin Family Dentistry, 2 locations, Lamar Boulevard in Hattiesburg and 440 Broad Street in Columbia. Dr. Kelly Cronin, always great to have you on the program, and we appreciate you, sir. And I guess, actually, last time I talked to you, I had an appointment later that week. I don't yet, so I've got another 5 months to go, but it's always great to talk to you, sir.
Well, thanks. Great to talk to you, and we appreciate all you do.
And 9 a.m. edition continues. More coming up. Stay with us.
9 a.m. edition with Michael Mergens. SuperTalk Hattiesburg, 97.3.
Well, I thank Dr. Kelly Cronin, Cronin Family Dentistry, for joining me in the first segment. CroninFamilyDentistry.com is their website. And again, they offer general dentistry, but also cosmetic dentistry, pediatric dentistry, orthodontics, oral surgery, periodontics, sedation dentistry, and sleep apnea therapy. I do know quite a few people that do suffer from that, and yeah, they've got the CPAP machine, and they talk about just how frustrating that is, but this sounds like a great option, but the fact that they do all that in-house, so the convenience of not having to go back, and the thing I thought about during the break, having gone to an orthodontist when I was younger and going to the dentist, and I remember the dentist would take x-rays, but then I go to the orthodontist and they'd have to take their own x-rays, and the cost of that, well, at Cronin, they just do it once and boom. Now, yes, there are certain things that they can't do, and they do refer you to some great offices in our area. But the fact that they offer all those services in one place, and they do have in-house insurance, that always comes up. People not going to the dentist because they don't have insurance, the upfront cost and that, it is very, very reasonable, and it covers those cleanings. That's the big one. And of course, it sounds like, well, of course, brush my teeth and I floss. Why do I have to get the cleanings? There's other things that they look for, and we've talked about over the years when it comes to your overall health, especially with heart disease. There are things that they can discover in your oral health, especially your gums, that can be predictors of issues going on elsewhere, as well as oral cancers. And it's not just cleaning your teeth. So those 2 a year are very important. So they offer you, I believe, free with that in-house plan, but then you get a discount off the x-rays and other procedures if you happen to get a cavity. And we've talked about it. There are some people who are just prone to cavities. Doesn't matter what you do. You can brush 3 times a day after every meal, and floss after every meal, and use mouthwash. And people still tend to get cavities. There's a heredity aspect to that. It's not their fault, but of course, it's getting it done early, caught early, that will mitigate any serious long-term damage. But we appreciate everything Dr. Cronin does. And again, 2 locations, 112 Lamar Boulevard in Hattiesburg and 440 Broad Street in Columbia. The Hattiesburg number, 601-336-2651, 601-336-2651, and Columbia, 601-633-1021, 601-633-1021. Every time I read that throws me off. The 633. Why? And I know other than area codes, phone numbers, basically because of cell phones and just the way all that has changed, the prefix used to be the same for a specific area. And you still see some of that. Usually if someone says it, you kind of know where they live if it's a broad area code, like 601. We go up to Jackson. But the 633, that was a prefix for my phone number growing up. I won't give the rest of the number because you don't need to be calling them. I remember it, which I bring that up to people, and it seems like everybody remembers their home phone number when we had home phones. Remember those days? But yeah, my number growing up, I will give the area code 815, which is most in northern Illinois, but that was Rockford, 815-633. So every time I read that, Columbia, Mississippi, and it's 633. What? This always throws me, but that's changed, just like everything else has changed. All right, coming up on Saturday, April 25th, I had Karen Sims, Executive Director of Hope Clinic, on a few weeks ago to talk about their Heroes Walk for Hope. This is one of their big fundraisers that benefits Hope Clinic, which is just an incredible ministry offering pregnancy resources. It is faith-based, and it offers solutions in transforming. I'm just reading this off their website. It's not from memory. Solutions in transforming the lives of those facing unplanned pregnancies. They're doing the Lord's work. They do incredible things, but being faith-based and a ministry, they need the support of the community. And there's a lot of ways you can do that, but the Heroes Walk is a big deal every year. It's going to be at the Payne Center. Again, Saturday, April 25th, they're looking to raise $20,000. So if you'd like to take part in the walk, the easiest thing is just to go to the website hcfriends.com. You can also find them on Facebook. Just look up HC Friends, but the website hcfriends.com, and there's a Walk for Hope tab. Not only are you helping to benefit Hope Clinic, but you could win a bunch of great stuff the more you raise. So if you raise $250, get a free t-shirt and a gift card. Or the big one, for every $200 raised, your name will go into a drawing to win a Blackstone grill. Plus, they got a lot of other great prizes. In fact, I'm trying to make this work out with my schedule. April just ends up being... April is like October. There's so much going on, mainly because of the weather. It's great, typically. So all these events happening every weekend, and it is the perfect time of year for a walk or run. But I'm trying to make it work. But a few years ago, when my family and I took part, I had no sooner checked in, and they announced my name. Pronounced it wrong, but used to that. After almost 49 years, I'm used to people saying Mergens instead of Mergens. That's how it's spelled. But anyway, they announced my name, and I won a gift card. And I had just checked in. So everybody has a chance to win something, but of course you're helping to benefit that incredible ministry. Speaking of ministries, last week had J.D. Simpson, Executive Director of First Priority of South Mississippi. Of course, they are equipping students to create student-led Christian groups in public schools, from middle school all the way up through high school. Still, a lot of people aren't aware of what they're doing, but I'm going to make sure that they do, because I'm glad. Of course, that is the only way that we can bring faith into our schools. It must be student-led, so they're equipping those students. But their big fundraiser, golf tournament and auction, actually the 27th annual, is coming up on April 16th and 17th. The golf tournament's going to be at Canebrake, but they have special guest Phillip Rivers, of course, a former NFL quarterback who is now a high school coach, but an incredible testimony. Again, one of these individuals who had gotten into a position of notoriety in the public eye, and he wore his faith on his sleeve and wasn't ashamed of it. But again, that benefits First Priority of South Mississippi. If you want to know more and how you can get tickets, they're $30. And the auction is going to be on the 16th. but fpsouthms.org, fpsouthms.org. And it's a great ministry and a great opportunity to support that ministry. And I mentioned this last week after JD was on the air. For those parents, and I'm one of them, for those parents that are concerned about what's going on within public schools, within schools in general, see a changing world. Mississippi still ranks as the state with the most Christian churches. That still remains true. But we're seeing so much outside influence creeping in. And I understand the parents that get frustrated. And if you're in a position to homeschool your kids, great. There's so many that aren't, which is why I'm a proponent of making change within the schools instead of just tossing it to the side and saying, well, I'm going to just go do my own thing. And again, if you're in the position, awesome. My wife and I have talked about that. We're not in the position to do that schedule-wise, but we have talked about it. But I do believe in our public schools. We have some amazing schools in the listening area. We look at reading and math scores statewide. The Mississippi Miracle have just increased immensely, top ranking nationwide, and that has a lot to do with the public schools. But for those parents that complain and concerns about what your child is being exposed to, first off, it starts at home. You need to create that foundation at home with your children, and then get involved with organizations like First Priority and FCA if your student is involved in sports. Support those organizations, but it's up to your child to lead. If you give them the tools, you give them that foundation, you give them the truth, they can go in their schools and they can testify, they can lead Christian-based groups. A lot of parents not aware of that. So if you are concerned about what's happening in public schools, step up, encourage your kids, make a change. Just don't throw it to the side and think, well, it's a lost cause. Because I mentioned this last week. What's going on in public schools in Mississippi right now, where those concerns are being raised, was in full bloom when I was in high school in Northern Illinois 30 years ago. I saw it. I came out of it pretty good. But parents, it's got to start at home first. But the fact we have First Priority equipping our students and doing an amazing job, I'm very thankful. All right, William Carey Wednesday coming up next. Dr. Italo Subbarao, Dean of the William Carey University School of Osteopathic Medicine, joins me next.
9 a.m. edition. SuperTalk Hattiesburg, 97.3.
All right, it's Wednesday, April 8th, 9:36, which means it's William Carey Wednesday. This is where we put a focus on William Carey University. Brought to you by Landry Kitchens Germany Architects, creating landmarks since 1932. And of course, they design many of the buildings on the William Carey campus, as well as the Tradition campus. So we appreciate Landry Kitchens Germany Architects for sponsoring this segment. And this is always, these are the easy interviews, because it's such great news, exciting news, and I told our next guest, in all sincerity, I do get excited when I hear about the growth, the success of all the programs at William Carey, but the one that has really been making a lot of headlines lately is the William Carey University College of Osteopathic Medicine. It is what I bring up when people ask, well, Hattiesburg, what's going on in Hattiesburg? Of course, I bring up Southern Miss, our great junior colleges and community colleges. But I always mention, we also have the largest medical school in the state. That's big because for a long time, it was that other school up north. So for a school like William Carey to be the best kept secret in the state, then all of a sudden making national headlines in its growth and the impact that it's making, and being a Christian university, this is big. So joining me in studio, always one of my favorite guests, the Dean of the William Carey University College of Osteopathic Medicine, Dr. Italo Subbarao. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Thank you for having me.
And if you're on the air and you're in studio, it means this is big.
Yes,
so let's
That's
jump right into it. And I didn't really tease it because I wanted people to tune in and listen to find out what we're going to talk about. U.S. News and World Report, major publication. William Carey College of Osteopathic Medicine leads the nation in primary care. First off, congratulations through your leadership and your staff, and of course the students. But talk about why that's. I mean, it's important, but kind of just hit on why people should be paying attention.
Well, first of all, it is an amazing accomplishment, and not of an individual. This is a collective accomplishment of all who are involved in educating our students, and for our students themselves, their heart to go out and to serve their communities, particularly here in Mississippi, rural and underserved areas. And so, but when the school was established, the reason for the school to be established was we have a critical shortage of physicians, particularly primary care physicians. And that's where the rubber meets the road in terms of prevention and just wellness. And so particularly in our, a state that's a rural state, a state that's has many underserved communities, it's a great challenge. We know that we end up having very poor health statistics when folks can't go find that family doctor, and the first time they make a visit is to the ER.
Right.
And so we set out in 2010 to establish a medical school that would focus on primary care and focus on graduating students to go into primary care and to go into rural and underserved areas. And now you fast forward here to 2026, and how amazing it is to see this little mustard seed start to grow. And you see it start to, you see the branches coming out, you see the trunk, you see what's happening here. And you see that our beautiful alumni, our students, they have gone out, and you see them being part of Hattiesburg Clinic and Forest General and Merritt and South Central. I mean, it's a tremendous thing to see that our area, our folks are going, but all throughout the state. And so really it's a testament and a promise that was originally made, but a promise that has been kept, and something that is very special and dear. Because this, for us, it means that transformation is happening here in Mississippi. That there is a beautiful hope for all Mississippians, and I really believe that transformation is happening. That there's going to be better health care today and even better in the future.
Talk about osteopathic medicine and exactly what that is, because I do have to explain that to some people. It's not new, but it is gaining ground in this world and time we live in when people are becoming more aware of their health.
Yes.
They're more aware of the treatments that have been utilized forever, it seems, that perhaps aren't the best way. So osteopathic medicine, timing was really perfect in creating the school and this changing mindset across the country and the world.
Yeah, the thing about, so osteopathic medicine, it was established around the turn of the century in the 1900s by a gentleman named A.T. Still. He was a Civil War physician, and he saw that conventional therapy was doing more harm than good. And so he looked at the patient. He was looking at folks coming off, the battlefield and posture and limping and all these types of things and saying, there's got to be a better way to assess people and a better way to treat people. And if we maybe look at the musculoskeletal system as a window to health, that may be a better way to go. Again, fast forwarding from that point till now, osteopathic medicine really is a focus holistically on the patient. We look at all factors that go into a person's health. So you're not a disease, you're a human being. There's a dignity of life there. So that when you come into be evaluated by a DO, we're going to ask you, okay, I got a headache. Well, not here's 2 Tylenol and go home, but how are you sleeping at night? What foods are you eating? What's going on with stress at work? And are you doing things you shouldn't be doing, like smoking or drinking and things of that nature? So it's the kind of care that everybody deserves. The focus of DOs is really a strong curriculum base in primary care. And historically, more DOs go into primary care specialties compared to our MD brethren. But as we are today and where we're going today, one of the other tremendous skill sets is our ability to touch our patients. We have an additional skill to do things like physical therapy and manipulative medicine. That is just another tool for us. And I think it's what we need today. We get caught up in technology. We don't even look each other in the eye anymore. And it's important for a doctor to come into that room. And yes, they might have a tablet in their hand, but to put the tablet down, to hold the hand of the patient, to sit by their side, and to walk with them in that moment and to get them where they need to be, which is why I really believe healthcare transformation is afoot.
Yeah, without question. And that's really how things used to be once when,
Yes.
especially in our rural areas,
Yep.
you had the town doctor that
Right.
would grow up there, go get their education, then come back because of that connection in the community. And the fact that you have students who are they see that need.
Yes.
They want to go back to these communities and make a difference and an impact. And of course, in the broad scheme, that helps people with their overall health and not having to drive far to get to
Yes.
a doctor. And of course, a lot of people hesitating to do that because of certain situations.
And a primary care doc that is very well rounded so that they have more tools in their toolkit so they can make those decisions like, okay, I know my patient has to drive 30 miles to go see this specialist. Let me take a look with the ultrasound. Let me touch them. Let me evaluate them in such a way that now I can say, you know what, this, we can handle it here. Or, okay, yes, you will need to look down, in the next couple of weeks, find a day where you have to go see the specialist because it is warranted at this point. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, I think one of the most beautiful things about DOs and our philosophy is that it really is patient-centered. It really is walking with the patient. Mm-hmm. And we come from all walks of lives. We have challenges going on. And it's really important. You cannot build trust if you just come in and, for 2 minutes and I just say, here's medicine, go home. Hey, why am I taking this medicine? Well, when I take it, I feel worse, not better. You need to have a doctor that can talk to you, can say, listen, hey, by the way, you might take this medicine. You may feel sick a little. It may not be good for a few days, but over time, you'll start to see a change. And these are the critical conversations that doctors need to have with their patients. And I think we're trying to inculcate that in our students. And it's a credit to our students and our graduates who have gone out there. And in our model of training, in their third and fourth year, they are out in those rural communities. And that's, I think, part of our secret sauce as to why our kids are more likely and more inclined to, they become part of the fabric of the community.
Mm-hmm. And I can speak to that. I'm sure I've brought this up to you in the past, but I've had experiences like that with doctors that you go in, something's bothering you, and it's just get out the prescription pad here, a cover up, and then they walk out of the room.
Yeah.
And my frustration and not going back to that doctor and just realizing how important a doctor is that's going to sit down and talk to you and understand, because it's not always one thing. And especially as we get older, we realize one thing may be bothering you, but it could be a bunch of other things that are triggering that. And you're never going to find that out unless you're talking to your doctor and having that relationship where you do trust them and you go back all the time to the same doctor. And of course, a lot of anxiety is alleviated when you have a doctor that you feel as a friend and that is really concerned about your health.
Yeah. And some of the techniques and things we can do just with our hands can help with like alleviating pain, alleviating anxiety, things like that, that maybe you don't need medicine for, of course, when appropriate, you get the medicine, don't get me wrong, but we just have this extra tool set. One other thing I want to mention, because you said this is sponsored by Landry and Lewis, who were our architects for our new Institute for Primary Care.
Yes.
And we had a ribbon cutting along with this U.S. News announcement. And these are very special buildings, state-of-the-art, innovative. We've got the largest osteopathic manipulative medicine lab in the country. Wow. We've got a brand new state-of-the-art ultrasound lab, beautiful classrooms. And a nice conference center where we've already begun hosting conferences. So it's an exciting time. This building is not just for our medical students. It is intended to be a place where community doctors here particularly in Hattiesburg, can come for their continuing medical education and things of that nature.
Wow, just to have that opportunity. And again, I can't I can't stress enough to someone listening the impact this has on our community as a whole. This is phenomenal for William Carey. It is a great opportunity for these students and the opportunities that they have. But the fact that it covers just the quality of life that we have here in our own backyard, and that we can say we have the largest medical school in the state. It is top ranked nationwide, and it's right here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, with some other very prestigious names that are in that list. And I encourage you to go look at that, because it's one of those, wow, I've heard of that school. That's pretty important, and for William Carey to make that impact. But you're right. You're doing a phenomenal job in your position, but I know your staff, the teachers, professors, everyone involved are the ones that have made that difference.
So much dedication, and so many of our doctors and partner hospitals. So thank you so much, Michael.
Oh, always great to have you on. Dr. Italo Subbarao, Dean of the William Carey University College of Osteopathic Medicine. #1 U.S. News and World Report for primary care in the nation. All right. 9 a.m. edition continues. Going to wrap things up on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
9 a.m. edition with Michael Mergens. SuperTalk Hattiesburg, 97.3.
Well, I thank Dr. Italo Subbarao, Dean of the William Carey University College of Osteopathic Medicine. Joining me for today's William Carey Wednesday, brought to you by Landry Kitchens Germany Architects, who also designed their brand new William Carey University College of Osteopathic Medicine 70,000 square foot facility. Of course, Dr. Subbarao expanded on all the things that they have offered there, but I'm not being patronizing to him because he's in studio or we do these interviews with William Carey. This is awesome. #1 ranked by U.S. News and World Report. #1. And that's actually the 5th year in a row that the college has been in the rankings. But to be #1 for the highest percentage of graduates participating in primary care, as well as Tier 1 for best medical school for primary care, #3 for highest percentage of graduates serving in rural areas, which is their big focus. And Mississippi isn't the only rural state. This is something that is becoming just a huge need. And of course, during the pandemic, telemedicine, which wasn't new. In fact, before the pandemic hit, we were offered telemedicine options through our insurance here at SuperTalk. It became kind of a necessity during the pandemic, but it did not really, I don't hear much about it. It's still an option, but I don't hear much about it now because people need that one-on-one. They need that conversation. And we have some great doctors, and I don't want to take anything away from those that either attended Ole Miss or Louisiana, like my doctor. I think I've mentioned on the air, it's kind of interesting. Whenever I get a referral, it's another doctor who went to Louisiana. But they've all been great. That's specialist, though. But even my doctor, he does take the time to sit down with me and talk to me. And it's not just one, hey, this is bothering you, here's an option. In fact, I've had some issues where I've had to sit down with him and try to figure out what was going on and narrow all these things down and going into detail and specifics on just lifestyle and what are the things you're doing, what aren't you doing. Not many doctors do that. I have been to those doctors, and I didn't go back to those doctors. But everyone, at some point, is going to see a doctor. When you were born, you saw a doctor, I hope. Unless it was, I don't know, a police officer or something did it. You see those stories once in a while. But either way, you see a doctor. And as you get older, you need to see doctors more. But that relationship, and that's the difference with osteopathic medicine. And the fact that it's growing and leading, but #1 medical school in the state here in Hattiesburg. That's just awesome. It really is. And it benefits all of us, helping to create that quality of life and these opportunities. Because you think about these students that are coming not only from across the country to go to William Carey because of its high rankings and the quality of education that they're getting and the opportunities and the future that they have once they graduate, but worldwide. There are students from all around the world that are coming to William Carey, right here in Hattiesburg. I think that's phenomenal. And I was actually talking to Dr. Subbarao off air that we're going to try to work out where we can do a live 9 a.m. edition from campus, and we can talk to these individuals that are making the difference. Of course, Dr. Subbarao is an amazing leader as dean, but he's the first to tell you that it's, and I've seen it, it's that staff. It's the teachers and professors, as well as the students that are attending, because you think about medical school, there's a lot to it, which you want, especially if you're going to a doctor. You want to make sure they've gotten as much education as they possibly can. But with the labs and just the opportunities that they have, especially with the new building, the growth, and when all this started, and I'm glad he brought that up because I couldn't remember, 2010. So 16 years, and the growth and the impact that school is making. Once Mississippi's best kept secret, William Carey has always offered a great quality education. Not so much anymore. Dr. Burnett will tell you he doesn't want it to be the best kept secret. He wants everyone to know about it. And now people do know about it. And if you haven't been to the campus, speaking of Landry Kitchen's Germany architects who have done the designs on those buildings, just go and see. It's a beautiful campus. And I've been on many college campuses in my life. It is so welcoming. You know it's a college campus. Even if you don't come from a world of academia, maybe just graduated high school, that was it. You go there, it doesn't really matter. You just feel at home. It's welcoming, it's comfortable, but then when you realize what they're accomplishing at that school, it's something to really, really be thrilled about, living here in the Pine Belt, that we have a school like William Carey, that a town like Hattiesburg has 2 major universities now, as well as our JUCO and community colleges, which are making huge strides with not only workforce education, but also just all the things that we need every single day and the opportunities that they're giving people. It's a really great time. Even with AI and all this other stuff, we still need human beings. We need that interaction, and they're getting those opportunities through the educational systems that we offer here in our community. So I appreciate Dr. Subbarao for joining me. As always, he's become a very good friend, as everyone at William Carey has. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. I want to thank Dr. Kelly Cronin for joining me in the first segment. CroninFamilyDentistry.com is our website. We will be back here next week. So until then, as always, please be safe, be kind, God bless.